Boyd's been tagged by De Boer. De Boer's done a good job there. Pickens beating Hill so far, and Crowley and Griffin breaking even.
So let's see if Fremantle put the foot down with what we think might be a breeze advantage.
Into his back, Western Bulldogs is sitting on him.
Liberatore free to start it.
On there. Stay out. High on.
It's wide, Jakira.
Thanks, Dylan.
Floats it in the Picken direction. Got there, made the ground. So again, possession football with short passes. Griffin, bang. Taken on and taken out by Johnson. Hasn't had a massive afternoon at the office yet, Ryan Griffin. Hasn't had a massive year either, really. Expectations always high with him.
I think he's the first one tagged every week now, Griffin.
He is. He was the #1 inside 50 man in the competition last year, so that's a standard that he obviously has to try and better every year. Johnson caught. Robertson. So they're backtracking, but at least they've got possession. He finds a gap. Heads back, Griffin's direction, floated over his head with that breeze. So it has given us the early indications that Fremantle will be kicking with it in this second term.
Just wondering what Ross Lyon was talking about. It looked like he wanted players to be more to move the ball quicker, but I reckon he could also be questioning a bit of work rate at the moment, because the Dogs just seem to be hunting the ball a bit harder than they do.
Yeah, well, they're winning the clearances 10-6, so that would suggest that.
They clear this one nicely. Picken all the way back. High tackle, Crowley off the ball. Will Minson's in trouble again. He just come back from being in trouble.
It's a big brute. He needs to use it in the right places like he did before when he took the mark inside 50. That's where he should be flexing his muscles.
He's also an unrestricted free agent at the end of this year, Will Minson, and there's been talk with him out of contract that he might be heading to another club as well. Bradley, halfback. McPhee.
They're all trying to milk it, aren't they?
Well, and big men are hard to come by, really.
Absolutely.
I suppose it's the thing they have in their favour. Mzungu. Main.
Well, hit the target, but it looked half a shank.
Plays on quickly. Griffin protected by Pavlich. He's a clever player, Matthew Pavlich. He's got the most goal assists in the competition in 2012, Matthew Pavlich. If Griffin kicks this, he won't get a goal assist next to his name yet.
But he should.
Yeah, it was the protection.
Shepherd, yeah.
But Griffin still needs to kick it. For the biggest lead of the game, a 13-point margin, and he can't.
It's going to be a little bit tricky, those ones, when you're just on your right for a right-hander there. Sometimes you tend to run right, and that's exactly what he did there, the big fella. He wouldn't have too many shots at goal from that angle.
Another one of those short kicks, Jared. Barely 15 that. He's 5 metres from the line of the square. Minson had it but lost it. Griffin rubs his nose in it by getting a possession and short passes to Barlow, and he might get a goal assist to his name.
Well, Big Will has fired them up, and there's plenty of dock of players wanting to let Will know that that was his man that just kicked the ball in. Robertson in particular was pretty vocal.
There's an old adage, never interrupt the concentration of a player who's having a bad day. And he might have rattled their cage at the right time. Will Minson, for Fremantle fans, has woken a few up. Barlow from 40 keeps it low, but he sprays it.
You don't want to be missing shots at goal like that. It's 2 goals, 5 now for the Freo Dockers. They need to capitalise on this and put the Dogs under even more pressure.
Gilby.
Great kick.
And Smith dumps it.
If they're going to chip the ball into the breeze, it's going to be doubly as hard as what it was last quarter. So if the Freo can really squash in the press and put them under pressure, they should be able to turn the ball over.
Brendan McCartney was on the phone to Will Minson, and Ross Lyon also working the phones. 50 from Fremantle's goal. And again, there's around 20 players around this ball up. Griffin down to Smith, though. Not 15. Easton Wood content to take it across the line. Ryan Crowley is the man the umpire is screaming at.
He's tagging Griffin.
And he's doing a pretty good job right now, and players are trying to get inside his head, trying to block him off the ball. He's got the job done at the moment. He doesn't need to get sucked in.
Smith's kick called play on, not required distance. Higgins, slick, Dalhouse run down from behind, almost legged. Might be play on advantage here. The Dogs keep running. It works for them. Christian Howard, he's got a one-on-one ahead. Keeps bouncing, runs away from Barlow, spears it to Sherman, just over his head, bounced unkindly, takes on McPhee, gets the ball on boot, Grover runs back and takes it through.
Well, that was just bread and butter for Sherman. That was a pretty good effort by Howard. Looked as if he'd done enough, but the ball just went an extra half metre, couldn't quite grab the mark. But nice setup from the Dogs. They're clearly trying to play fast break footy. Their forward line hasn't functioned otherwise, so they've come with a plan. And that is not to bomb the ball in long. That hasn't worked. They're going to try and run it in and restrict the opposition to a very limited score.
Eight points the margin. If you've just joined us for the first time, that's the biggest margin of the game, essentially. No team has led by more than 2 goals in this. Ibbotson dropped it and Dixon gathered. Jakira hands it back. Higgins again. Back to Dixon. Smith. All this 45 from goal. Need to find someone free to get a shot. Dalhouse finds some space. Part of the Seas and nailed the goal.
And she's sort of smouldering out in the middle of the ground. I've had a few spot fires. Nothing broken out. But the Dogs are just working that bit harder for mine, Rue, and this is just starting to pay some dividends. Here it is, one of the quickest men on the ground. Dalhouse getting the ball, and he'd be delighted to get that goal. He's been relatively barren in the last month or so. Just got the one, but all of a sudden he's on the end of one. His pace and a factor.
Just his second goal in 6 games for Luke Dalhouse, and the hit-out's dead square.
And the clearances all in favour of the Bulldogs.
5 zip for the quarter.
Yeah, so that gives you the indication in some ways it's what you do with your hit out.
They're working much harder at the moment. The Bulldogs are getting slowly getting some reward on the scoreboard.
Howard in the Sherman direction. Sherman beat McPhee and then couldn't pounce on it. McPhee caught behind. Got the possession. De Boer to Pearce. But it's a 2-point game. Lower. Ballantyne trots his way through the centre circle, heads in the Pavlich direction.
That was hard work, both from Ballantyne and Pavlich, who ran 80 metres to present.
Who does he want to give it to? Keeps it low. He just makes it a chaos ball inside 50, but Jakira read it well. Run down from behind, but he just got a kick away in time. Smith. Wallace. A lot of young players in the Dogs lineup this week. Brendan McCartney has talked about giving games to young players in a development year. His first year at the helm. It's also Ross Lyon's first year at the helm of Fremantle, but in some respects they have a different agenda. Finals still their agenda.
Got to squash it up here, Freo, and cause the turnover. You end up going long down the line.
Touched. Lower. Main.
There it is.
On 50 and kickable by his standards, perhaps. He's got the breeze. Went for Mzungu, almost a mark. Play on, hit some turf. Pearce, stand, start, floater.
Well, that would make Ross Lyon angry. You've got Chris Main, who's a great shot on goal. He's got the breeze at his back. He kicked a beautiful goal just before quarter time, and he tries to pass it off. It was unnecessary. He should go back and kick the goal. That's what he's paid to do.
Lower in the hands of trainers, having a chat. Neither team have used their sub yet. Ballantyne, he spent that before he'd earned it. Bradley, De Boer, Ibbotson. And that's a push out. Yep. Broughton's going to get the free against Markovic.
And that's what happens when you put it long to the top of the square.
That's unforgivable. If he's pushed in the back there, that is just...
Oh, yeah, look, he shouldn't have done it, but that's what some inexperienced defenders end up doing. They feel the pressure, and a bloke that's a lot smaller than him, he wouldn't have needed to put his hands in the back, but sometimes that's what happens.
Brain fade for sure.
They've led by a goal and a half 2 times already in this game, and the Bulldogs have kicked back. And they lead by 9 points again.
Well, we'll try and get another look at what has to be only considered a rookie error. Here comes the kick from behind. Markovic just rested his hands on the back, and the umpire was all over him. You just got to get that out of your game as a young bloke coming through.
Yep.
He's paid the price.
That's why it's not a bad option to put it at the top of the square.
Yep.
There's a fair bit of niggle out on the ground at the moment. Won't be long before there'll be a free kick off the ball, I think.
Make sure we're not going in the back, right? Keep it in contact. Be careful there, Hayden.
Hayden Ballantyne just getting another warning. Umpires just won't leave him be. Bradley, Barlow, Ibbotson, well worked. Griffin, Pearce, De Boer, turnover. Liberatore tried the fend off, just got a handball to Minson in time. Nice blind turn. Same for Picken. Hands to Higgins. Jakira. Now
kick.
Sherman's open. Needed to be a good kick, and he raked it in.
Well, it's a good combination of possession there by the Western Bulldogs, and finally the spot up of Sherman was first class.
Go, that's it.
And a lovely move by the big fellow, Dwayne. I haven't seen a blind turn like that for a long time.
Nice to see. Poetry in a bit of slow motion.
Thought he was on the dance floor.
Kick 4-8 this year, Justin Sherman. But the goal umpire saw that into the post. Did a little bit of dancing, and the breeze just pushed it the way that I think Sherman and most didn't think it was going to push. Grover.
Hard to believe it's taken so long for Grover to get into this game. He's been such a wonderful player for the Dockers. Yet the emergence of Zach Dawson had his papers stamped, it seems.
The first game for the season for Anthony Grover, and Zach Dawson, even though I think he's listed as injured, had some form issues. Is that right, Jacko? There was some form issues with Zach Dawson?
Yeah, just been a little bit up and down. Had a good one a couple of weeks ago against Richmond in that win, and after that it's been pretty poor since then.
8-point margin. Flick down in the Dalhouse direction. Wallace, Picken, Wallace, Liberatore, Minson. Cross, Boyd. To the hot spot, to Higgins, edged out a little. No free kick, no hand in the back free. Higgins on 50. Tried for the 1-2 with Sherman, he couldn't get the 2. Kicked it off the deck. Dalhouse already kicked one from here. Nails his second.
Good response goal there by the Western Bulldogs. Love their work rate at the present time. Bit stiff not to get the free kick for the hands in the back just prior to this passage of play, but Higgins unloads. Ugly part of the game there where that's just dropping the ball, but nevertheless, Dalhouse around the corner.
Very sloppy, a lot of skill errors.
Yep.
One thing that Ross Lyon wouldn't be happy about at the moment is contested possessions and clearances. 19-9 Dogs lead that, and 7-1 in the clearances.
Came into this game with 7 goals, 15 for the season. Luke Dalhouse had been inaccurate. He's kicked 2 goals so far this afternoon, and it's a 2-point game again. Minson and Griffin in the ruck. Griffin of the Bulldog variety forced to lay a tackle on his tagger Crowley. Liberatore caught by the shoulder then and dragged backwards. Fremantle crowd wanted ball even though he didn't kick it, and the umpire had to pay one or the other. He simply let it run. It was either ball because he had prior opportunity, or it was over the shoulder. We'll take your pick.
Eyes on the footy, guys. Face the ball, let him run.
Umpire and coach. Lower. Had some injury issues in this game earlier, but looks okay now. To half forward, Pavlich. It's a drop kick of a metre. And it's been that kind of game.
Are we winning over any rugby union supporters playing the game this way, do you think?
Well, even the players are getting frustrated with the way it's transpiring. Now he throws that straight in the air that time, Jared.
Well,
and picked a free kick out quickly.
As we're about to get an all-in stoush.
So they have to wait until the umpire's sick of it as well.
Yep.
Before he just elects to throw it in the air. There's just no rhyme or reason whether they want to throw it in the air or bounce it, but sometimes they just get sick of it themselves. Howard short. Minson had to get and go there. And 50, so Big Will can roost one from 50, and perhaps for the first time this afternoon the Western Bulldogs can take the lead.
And I think that's the issue, that despite it being a really difficult affair to watch, if you're a Western Bulldogs fan, you'd be pretty happy given...
Goes to Big Tom.
Given where they're sitting at the moment. This is really ugly tactics in many ways, but they're working hard, and they have got the Dockers where they want them halfway through this second term. Can they sustain the effort?
Well, Campbell's spill has allowed a quick play on Fremantle. Kepler-Bradley out of side to Hill, who's got a couple to beat. Almost won it.
And Hill hasn't had a touch in this second quarter, so Pickin doing a really good job on him.
They're right in control at the moment, the Western Bulldogs. They've come in with a lot of their gun players not here. Murphy in particular, giving them nothing off the half-back flank, injured.
Mzungu inside 50. Markovic was searching for the line, had to pull it up. He's tackled, he's jumped on. He's cut some slack. They do have a few out. Both teams in some respects have a few out, as Ballantyne has a spell. No Murphy, Gian Siracusa, Cooney, Grant, Williams. So they do have a few out, the Dogs. Smith caught.
Those that are in, Dwayne, are working hard, and I think that their coach would be really pleased. I think in many ways he came here with little expectation except a competitive effort, Roo.
Yeah, that's what they've been doing. The contested ball and hard ball gets have been good, but just haven't been able to finish it off up forward.
Pearce keeps it in. 45 from goal. Central ball. Wood. He dropped it. Bradley just got a handball away in time. Howard makes it somebody else's problem. Dixon, he was front spot. Good grab. Of course, I didn't mention Liam Jones is also out for the Dogs, but he was dropped. Coach didn't like the way he played last week, so he's not out injured. Dixon's kick sits, and Campbell went up. He's a massive unit, 201 centimetres, the big dog. Gilby in his first game of 2012, and it opens up beautifully, but Higgins doesn't want to play on. He's got Smith, and Smith has Jakira. Couldn't take it one-handed. Still has Jakira. Needs to get it over just in time for the 1-2. Flicked on.
Good follow-up.
He's got a one-on-one inside 50. Campbell, it bounces kindly for him. Goes hard. Hill right with him. Campbell's strength to Dixon. And for the first time this afternoon, the Dogs are in front.
Well, it wasn't a pretty play on the outer side. They had a few opportunities and they nearly made a mess of it, but a shocking bounce there to McFarlane aided Campbell. Hill couldn't restrict him. He got the handball out, and just like about, I think all of their goals, 3 of their goals have been from snaps today, and a good finish. And as you said, they're just working harder at the moment. They're dominating the clearances and contested possessions and scrapping a few goals.
First goal of the afternoon for Tory Dixon, and this second term being played to silence.
Well, I think the Docker fans would be as devastated as their coaching panel, because they are being shown how to work by a side with less ability on their own turf.
Jakira, Peckin, Griffin work it to half forward, but it was an errant kick. Hasn't had a lot of space so far this afternoon, Ryan Griffin. It was Jonathan Griffin. He spills it and runs into Will Minson.
There's been a lot of upsets in this round so far, Roo, and this one is a long way from finished, but right now the Bulldogs have put themselves in a position where they may join those of the upset variety.
Ryan Griffin again caught. That's a splendid tackle. Has to be rewarded, surely.
That's holding the ball.
Did 2 circles with it.
How many allowed, Dwayne?
I looked at the rule book, and there's no rule on how many circles you can take, but normally it's 1 full rotation is the unwritten law, and there are a lot of unwritten laws in this beautiful game of ours. From the ball in, Pearce. And a good tackle from Boyd. So Fremantle 6 wins, 7 losses right now. Western Bulldogs 5 wins, 8 losses. They can draw level on the ladder if the Dogs get up here, and the Dogs can turn what is a mathematical finals chance into maybe a better hypothetical finals chance that they can get a run of victories. They need to start here and now and continue the second quarter momentum. Lake, Liberatore, and a throw in almost 50. Umpire doesn't allow it, cuts Pickens some slack.
Arlo not having a good game. We've seen a couple of turnovers, a couple of fumbles, not going at the ball hard enough. He needs to tidy his act up at the moment.
I reckon he needs to rotate more. He just runs himself into the ground.
De Boer to Pavlich.
And he ends up running without speed. You know his issues, but at the moment, the game doesn't respect those issues. The game just treats you as if you're 100%. And he's not dealing with it at the moment.
So often their saviour, Matthew Pavlich. 29 goals, 14 this year. He's dragged them over the line a couple of times in this season. Been their shining light in a couple of their losses as well. This to grab the lead back and bring the crowd to life. The Pav has 2.
Well, it was a nice result for the Dockers in the finish, but as you said, they nearly blew it with the Barlow situation. But a really good tackle there. Ball just got thrown away, and De Boer just sets it up. But he's been a real find for them. He's always been a hard-working defender, but his move into the midfield has been one of the more inspired by Ross Lyon in his time here, and he's had so many possessions already with 13.
Hard to imagine a Fremantle team trotting out one day without Matthew Pavlich. Dogs with more scores from stoppages, as you can see. Lower, almost the takeaway. Pearce gets one for too high. Almost ran into the stationary hands of Liberatore. Mundy. And a race on. Pavlich gets there first. Bradley. Pavlich. Kick smothered by Smith. And thumped to the line by Daniel Cross.
Just like to see the Dockers go forward a little bit more quickly, move the ball a bit more sharply. But to do that, you've got to work harder.
And win the clearances.
No one wins this clearance. Minson, almost. Flick forward. Boyd.
Well done, Lower.
Desperation from Lower. Little handball from Sutcliffe. Bradley. And now Hayden Ballantyne. He's got Mayne on the move, puts it in front. Lake got there first.
I think it's a good move to push Hill to the goal square or the forward pocket. He's not getting the ball through the middle of the ground, and they've got to get some winners in that middle of the ground and some ball carriers, and maybe just a quick change with Ballantyne to get him into the game as well.
Fremantle by 2 points. Late in this second term. Just beats Pearce. Jakira tries to tie him up. The umpires are earning their money this afternoon.
Michael Johnson had 10 possessions in the first quarter, only 3 in the second. The Western Bulldogs are just trying to drag him out of the play because he is such a great rebounding halfback player.
Bradley with the slap. Problem for both these teams when you talk finals is it's probably going to take 13 wins to make the finals this year, given that it's an 18-team competition for the first time. Only 8 make the finals. And both these teams have horrendous percentage records this year.
Play on 15. Play on, Gary. Yours. Play
Low
on,
scoring at the
Gary.
moment. It doesn't look like being a percentage booster for either team this afternoon. Griffin back to Higgins. Got the kick, but it's ineffective. Out of play on the full. Fremantle's ball. Fremantle about 30 percentage points behind St Kilda in 8th spot on the ladder. High fly, Lake.
This will be interesting.
They can draw level 7-7. Fremantle with a win this afternoon with St Kilda in 8th spot, but 30-odd% behind is a long, long way behind to make up in the closing stages of a season. Bulldog free.
It's a free kick against Crowley. He's under a tight tag. Griffin.
It's a nothing kick, really. In fact, it was a nothing kick that doesn't count. It was 14 metres. And a rush behind surely coming your way. No, Lake took on Broughton and beat him. De Boer flies almost, not the third grab. Jakira took it to the line. Bulldogs don't mind using the ball. They're the third highest possession team in the AFL this year. More possessions this year than some of the top 8 teams like Hawthorn and the West Coast and Essendon. Flick it around and short it around. Gets them into trouble. Ballantyne to Mzungu. Broughton.
Oh, good catch.
Been a pretty well a successful move, this one, of Greg Broughton from a defender over the last few years to a forward defender, because he can kick goals. He's been pretty successful over the last few weeks in doing that role.
He's kicked 5.
One this afternoon from a little closer than this, but from directly out as well. They push the lead back out to 8 points. Disastrous.
That's 3 very easy shots they've missed today. 4 goals, 7.
And all in this quarter, Root.
That's not putting much scoreboard pressure on the opposition.
Christian Howard entrusted with a kick in straight down the middle. Campbell attacked it, later tackle. Jakira. Liberatore. No one open. Grover saving mark. Broughton up way early. The umpire didn't like the attempt.
So at half-time, Ross Lyon gets his group in at into the change rooms. Roo, what's the approach?
They have to start winning the hard ball. The ball around the stoppages. They're getting beat in contested possessions and clearances, and that's where the game starts. If they start winning that, then their forwards are going to get some quicker use of the ball. The ball will get down there faster instead of after they've already flooded back. At the moment, as you said, the Western Bulldogs want the ball more than the opposition. That is one area the Western Bulldogs have been quite good at all year.
2 minutes left to half-time. A late goal takes some momentum in, give a team renewed hope. The Dogs have it on the wing. Cordy couldn't break free. 3 points the margin. Neither team has led by more than a goal in this game. It's been tight from the outset.
Between David Mundy and Stephen Hill this quarter,
This is not going to be a good start.
2 possessions.
Or 1.
2. Mundy's had them both.
Lower to half forward off hands.
I'll
Stolen
retract
back
that.
by Griffin.
You're right. 1.
To Boer. To Ballantyne. A dance. A weave. A pass. Main protected his ground. Kepler Bradley runs hard for a shepherd. And almost taken out on the full from the back of the heel of Higgins. Umpire says no. And we'll get a ball in. 1 minute 17 left on the clock. Low scoring game. Just 8 goals as it stands right now to half time. Griffin. Crowley. Mzungu. Chance for a late Docker score. High. Dogs ball.
I think if you're the coach, Ross Lyon, you'd walk in there with the red jacket and you'd say, right, you've got 10 minutes to prove that you shouldn't be wearing this, because Paul Duffield wants to give it to somebody. So you make up your mind who wears it.
It's been 28 inside 50s to 15. Shows how dominant they've been. They just haven't been able to put on the scoreboard.
Good fly from Cordy. They need more of that from him.
That's his first kick coming up, Dwayne, but I mean, it doesn't really matter how many he gets as long as he presents as a target and is competitive and does okay when he goes into the ruck.
Don't like the fact that he had to look backwards there.
Well, he knows that the scoreboard's only 30 seconds to go, and they're happy. They're really happy right at this stage, the Western Bulldogs, and good on them. They made all these changes. They've come with a plan, and they're executing it at the moment.
Sutcliffe to half forward. One late chance at a score. 15 seconds left, and the Dogs have the free runners. Jakira holds it up, though. Cross works for him. He puts it in Cross's direction. He could get and go. Holds it up. 45 from goal.
He needs a siren to blow so he doesn't play on.
Thinking about it. He's thinking.
Now he gets a genuine chance. Tough into the wind.
Not a long kick of the ball either, I don't think, Crossies. You have to absolutely hit it perfectly here.
Margin stands at 3 points. The Dogs have had the lead in this game, but only for a period of 2.5 minutes.
Go the Torp.
They could steal the lead at halftime and all the momentum.
Can he kick a drop punt this far, Roo?
I don't think so.
If he gets it up, this is where the wind is elevated behind him. It's in that vortex pocket that we talk about, Jared. He can make the distance here.
He is a star. Strikes it okay. Is it long enough? No, and it fails to even score off hands. So half-time here at Patersons Stadium in this round 15 encounter between two teams who believe their finals window is still open.